Rev up your engines!
Letter E. Scotty, what are your thoughts about Bluetooth fault scanners for personal use? There are some that are really good. Do not go out and buy the cheap Chinese ones that are like $10. I have seen them destroy computers because you're plugging it into the OBD port. And if that stupid little scanner that plugs in doesn't work right and shorts out inside, it can short out your main computer. For those, really, the best one I found is that Blue Driver. The Canadians designed it and wrote the software, and they're made in China. But the Canadians designed it, and they got good quality control. Now, they're not cheap. They're like 99 bucks. But they really give you a lot of information. You get free updates for it. And it's really worth spending the $99. Hey, you spend a lot of money for the car. Do not go out and buy the really cheap ones. Now, there's other ones out there that are like 50 or 60 bucks that are okay. But if you really want a decent one, get the Blue Driver. They're really good for 99 bucks. As long as you got a good phone. I got a Samsung S9. They work fantastic on that. Junebug. Hey, Scotty, what are your thoughts on an 88 or 90 Nissan 300ZX for a daily driver? Don't do it. Those are great cars in the days. I had lots of customers with them. They had some that were turbocharged, some that weren't, some that were automatic, some that were standards. But if you're talking about an 88, 32-year-old car, that thing is old. You can't use a car that old for a daily driver. The rubber's going to rot. Things are going to leak. It's just not going to be dependable. And on those, I know for a fact because I used to work on them all the time. The wiring was a little bit cheaply made. And at that age, it starts to fray and all the plastic insulation will start cracking. You'll see the bare wires. And when they touch, oof. If you want one as a toy for a weekend, you can play around with, sure, but don't get one for a daily driver. I've had customers who have, and every single one regretted it later. J008, I got about $5,000 and I'm looking for a reliable car to buy. Any suggestions? Everybody's looking for a $5,000 car, you know? If you can find a Corolla or a Honda Civic or even a Camry, it'll be harder to find a Camry for $5,000. Use Craigslist. Tell your friends. Ask around. My own personal advice is don't go to a used car lot because used car lots generally charge 2 to 4 times what they paid for the car. If you want to find out what a used car lot paid for a car, okay, see what the price is, and then say, well, I want to finance it. What's the down payment? Well, generally the down payment is what they paid for the car. So you'll know how much profit they're making on that car. So try Craigslist, ask your friends, look around, look at estate sales. You never know. And since $5,000 isn't that much money these days, if you found an estate sale, let's say it was a Buick, and it was an old man's car, and it's low mileage, what the heck? You might get a lot of mileage out of that, too. You never know what you're going to find in that price range. Tony, 1410. My 2002 Mustang V6 is a slight jerk when it shifts sometimes. The fluid's red, but it has some black in it. 18-year-old Mustang V6. I'm assuming it's got well over 100-something thousand miles on it. That often is pretty much the lifespan of the transmission. Odds are your transmission is just starting to wear out. If you really like the car and you want to keep it, I'd say put in a Ford factory remanufactured transmission. When my customers do that, they're generally happy. It lasts a really long time. It's a good deal for them. But if you're not planning on keeping the car forever, my advice is change the filter and fluid. Maybe it'll help it, maybe it won't. And then just live with whatever it does. It's not worth anything. It's, 18-year-old V6 Mustang with probably a lot of miles on it. You never know how long it's going to last. But if you really want to keep it, put a factory remanufactured tranny on it. King is good. Scotty, I just changed my serpentine belt because when I checked this morning, I saw the backside thread was starting to come apart. Yeah, definitely. You need to change it when the backside comes apart. And they often come apart, the belts aren't made in one piece. They're stretches and then they're bonded together. And generally the bond part comes apart. You got to change it because eventually it'll break. If we're talking serpentine belts, the serpentine belts with all those grooves, when they crack on the inside, you have to change them too. But it's even more complicated than that because as they wear, what happens is the grooves actually get too deep. You'd think, deeper is better. No, they're made to sit on the grooves of your pulley. And when they get deeper, instead of sitting in them, they sit too high on the grooves, then they can slip and cause problems. So I have a special plastic gauge. It costs like $1. And you stick it in and you measure the wobble. And if it wobbles too much, it means the grooves are too wide and it's time to change them too. And just as a rule of thumb, hey, if the things are more than 6, 7 years old, it's a good idea to just change them. And then you don't have to think about it for 6 or 7 years. AOR5, Scotty, I got a 2005 Toyota 4Runner head gasket replaced with valve seals all 3 years ago at a Toyota dealer. Now when I started, sometimes I get a blue smoke. Could that be the head gasket? Well, odds are it's not the head gasket. It's '05, so it's a 15-year-old one. Blue is generally a combination of burning metal and burning oil. When you get that, it's generally the piston rings are starting to wear. But I mean, if it runs okay and doesn't burn that much oil, keep driving it. It's a 15-year-old vehicle. But you get that blue tint. Blue is a combination of oil and metal burning. That's what makes a unique blue. So when there's blue, you got some metal wear somewhere. And I know it's almost always the piston rings. But if it runs okay, hey, drive it that way. The head gaskets, when they blow, you start burning water. Smoke comes out that's usually whitish. You're not going to get a blue tint from that. Flintstone Mechanic 810 says, "Hey, Scotty, I have a low coolant light coming on my '02 Monte Carlo. The coolant's full, oil's full. I can't figure out what's going on. It doesn't overheat." Those things have a little float sensor that tells you how much coolant you have in. And the stupid things break all the freaking time. They're plastic junk. If you want to fix it the way it was designed, when it's cold one day, unscrew the sensor, put a new one, and plug it in. If you don't even want to deal with it, you can unplug the sensor and splice the two wires of it together and then seal it, and then the light won't come on because it'll think it's full all the time. That's just another GM cheap plastic crap thing, and they break all the time. And if you do replace the sensor, it'll break again in a short period of time. I got a customer that wanted to keep his. I've changed 3 of those sensors in it so far, so... Typical GM garbage. Nickel 1011. "Hey, can you mix Dexron 3 ATF with a full synthetic ATF that's supposed to be compatible with it?" Well, you can, but I don't advise it. My advice is always stick to the OEM factory fluid for your vehicle. Whoever makes it has a certain additive package. Change something, it can be compatible, but it doesn't mean it's exactly the same. And if the original one was designed for that transmission, you should stick to that. They are mixable, just like if you're in a pinch, you got a car that burned a quart of oil, you're out in the middle of nowhere, and the only thing you can get is a different type of oil. It's not going to kill your car mixing it with the other ones, but it's not a good practice to mix stuff. Always use the same stuff. Engine oil, there's so many good engine oils out there. You can use whatever you want. But the transmission fluid, stick to the factory stuff. Jose Paz, 13. "Scotty, what do you think of Walmart's full synthetic SuperTech 5 W30 with a Bosch filter?" Their synthetic oil is good synthetic oil, and the Bosch filters are excellent filters. Buy quality oil and quality filters. It doesn't matter where you buy them if you're getting a brand name. And Walmart, they're not going to be selling junk. They get such a fantastic deal because they're such a humongous company. They get their oil at a good price, and they can turn. I remember years ago when they had that oil made from natural gas that Shell made at the AutoZone. The stuff was $11.50 a quart. It was $4.50 a quart at Walmart. The same exact oil. They're obviously giving a deal to Walmart and not giving the deal to AutoZone because they're not as big a retailer. As long as you find a good oil and filter, buy it wherever you want where you can get the best price. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.